and welcome to Basketball Speaks. Today is February... Tricked you. It is in fact May 3rd. I don't know. Or is it May 2nd? No, it's May 3rd because the first was Sunday. I don't know what episode it is. How are you? It's 170 something. How are you? Before I forget to mention it, I am wearing my Quaker yarn stretcher. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's a double skein. The pattern is written for 4 ounces of hand spun or whatever. But I really like the 8 ounces size. This is a Quaker yarn stretcher. I apologize, I'm not sure who wrote the pattern. And this is spun right round. Something about feather. Maybe it's just feather is the colorway. How are you? Okay. Oh, I didn't say the things. My name is Amy Beth, also known as The Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and The Fat SQRRL on Instagram. If you're looking for show notes, you can find them at thefatsquirrel.com. All the way you would spell those words. You can also just Google The Fat Squirrel. Not only will you get pictures of me and like find your way to the website, but you might also get videos of fat squirrels, which is like actual furry in the wilds fat squirrels, which really can only make your day better, right? That's all I'm saying. Let's get into it. Today's episode will have, do we have any shenanigans? Shenaniganishes? Mini shenanigans. Not really, but kind of a little bit. It'll have... I have a new thing I want to try to start doing. And I'll, of course, always expect. I'll always respect and expect. Yeah, I expect it. I always respect your feedback, so just let me know if you're like, no, I do not like that, or yeah, I keep doing that. I'm going to start doing a... like from the boards, kind of like recap from the last episode. So, caveat, disclaimer thing. I won't, of course, well, I will not read directly from the boards because that would be monotonous for all of the humans. But if I do not like touch on something you said, it is not because it was not important. It may have just been because I didn't know enough about it to talk about it and didn't have time to do the research, or like I just didn't know how to like tie it in. I know, right? Because this podcast is so smooth and cohesive. But anyway, disclaimer. But so we'll do that from the boards. And there will be, of course, knitting. There'll be spinning. There will be a review of the ChowGoo mini interchangeable needle set. And there will be shameless self-promotion. It's true, people. All of those things are somehow going to happen. It's going to be highly entertaining. Anywho, really there are no shenanigans. But I'll talk about the from the boards because it'll like kind of lead up to the mini shenanigans. So from the boards. Let's see. Okay. So last week, I don't know if you remember, well, maybe you just didn't watch, but the last time we talked together, I was talking a lot about gardening because I had sown some of my own grow pots. By the way, having put the dirt in the grow pots, the ones I bought are far superior to the ones I made. Right? I'm kind of a little bit afraid that the ones I made are just going to like disintegrate. They're going to disintegrate like partway through the season, and I'm going to like come out and there's just going to be like a tomato like leaning this way and like with its cage like just like crushing all of its fruits and the bag just in pieces on the ground. I'm kind of afraid that's going to happen. Come here. Come on. But we'll see. This is Olive. Olive just got in trouble today, this very day, because interestingly enough, none of our dogs have really hurt the daughter's stuffed animals ever. I mean, I think they've maybe like picked them up. Annie has had a few, what is the PG and all audiences appropriate way to say, has had dominance encounters with some of Tova's stuffed animals, particularly pillow pets. But we've never had a destructor. This is the first time Olive totally chewed the nose off of one of Tova's stuffed animals. It's kind of intense what Tova found out. Luckily, she was only mad at Olive for like 3 minutes, and then she got over it. Because, really, come on. Anyway, she was being needy and whining, so I thought I'd pick her up. We'll see, it'll probably just continue. She's a very needy dog. What were we talking about? So yes, I am slightly afraid that like that fabric is just going to disintegrate. But we'll see. It's not like it felt like it was like going to just disintegrate next week. Just a little concerned about it. But that's not to say that I'm not totally using it, because there's tomatoes in there that have handmade grow pots, and also all of my lettuce this year is planted in the handmade grow pot. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. But anyway, so that was what we were talking about last week. That generated the most content on the boards. So that was just like a segue. But this is very cute. Amy Lors, who's super cute, by the way, suggested that we all think of gardening as a learning experience and therefore worth investment, versus like what I constantly do is try to like no, it's not amortize. That's not the right word. Anyway, like I am constantly like, okay, I've spent $20 on this and then this. I'm like, okay, now I got to generate 10 gallons of tomatoes off of that investment. I mean, I'm not holding it to myself in like a completely like way, but I recognize that. And yes, I know quality of what you're growing and like there's other factors that are not quantifiable. Like I totally understand all of that. And again, clearly I am still gardening whether or not I'm actually going to get like the 30 quarts of tomatoes that I really need to get to financially be on par with what I spent. But it does still is a factor, right? So thanks, Amy. And then RJ Hugs suggested, and I had seen this before, but I didn't even think to mention it, is to use like reusable grocery bags, because you know you have some of those that are so ratty that you're kind of embarrassed to even take them to the grocery store. Unless you're a better human than me, which you probably are. But there are some that I have that I'm really like, that was like I'm pitiful. To use those. So they're about the right size. I mean, they're a little bit bigger, like in terms of, they're a little bit bigger overall. But you could like either, you know, just not fill them up all the way or like turn down the edges or whatever. But the nice thing is they have handles. Yay, that's nice. And I had seen that before. It's like not something that RJ Hugs just made up and like was like, yeah, try this. Tricky. Like it's a legitimate thing. She just was like, hey, I've seen this. And then she also suggested that you use jeans that are no longer usable to you, and perhaps no longer donatable to other humans, because you know you have those too. Where like the thigh is completely gone. It's just that one seam and then threadbare on either side. Like you've created, you know what I mean, brick shit and stuff. She could like either cut the legs off and sew the legs. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty. It's just the garden, right? So that you just like have a butt planter. I mean, some of your butts are not that big, but I got like a 40-gallon butt. I don't know. Okay, that's overestimating, but you know, I got multiple gallon butt jeans. So either, you know, or if you're a tiny human, maybe you could just plant some hot peppers in that little pair of jeans, or some basil or something. But anyway, or kids, whatever. All of these things are options. Or you can also cut off the legs, and again, that would be just like a smaller container for certain plants. So, yeah, or unless you're made, then that's like at least 100 million gallons. So thanks. Oh, and then she was the first person to introduce, and then lots of other people reiterated, that if you do have leggy tomatoes, and this is widely confirmed, and I have read this, but I was doubting that it would help my pitiful tomatoes, and then I'll talk about later why it ultimately did not help my pitiful tomatoes. Not because the suggestion was not good, but that you can just, if your tomatoes are very leggy, and what that means is just like you have a very long stem, and it's all like, not like it's Brooke Shields or something, but it's just like, It's a hot mess. You can bury your tomatoes all the way up to the leaves, and all of those little fibers that are sticking out on your tomato stems will become roots and will stabilize the plant. This also works if you're buying stores like cheater tomatoes, which I did. When you buy cheater tomatoes, you can plant them as is, but you are also more than welcome to plant them deep enough so the dirt covers up to their first set of leaves. Or just go crazy and rip off that first set of leaves and just even deeper. It's whatever. Whatever works for you. So lots of people reiterated that. And I had read that, but I was like, mine are so pitiful, that can't help them. It's ridiculous. But I did try, but then I was thwarted by the weather, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But thanks for all those folks. And then the last one I'll mention is Huck Mom reminded me, there's a book called The $64 Tomato, which was written by William Alexander. He also wrote a book called 52 Loaves. Basically, he writes books about his hobbyist obsessions. But so the $64 tomato is perfectly apt for what we were discussing. What I was discussing, I say we because you're involved, whether you like it or not. It is really just about his like conquering a la overprivileged like hobbyist style conquering the garden. And it is entertaining. I haven't read it. It's been quite some time. I read the other one too, The 52 Loaves, which is about him conquering the bread. It is very conquery. It is very white male. Not to say I enjoyed both of those books. I read them all. I read the whole things through, but you know, a grain of salt and whatnot. But it's still very enjoyable. So anyway, yay. So that's from the boards. And then now we go to shenanigans. Do you see the animations that are happening? I'm not putting them in. Shenanigans. So the shenanigans are pretty pitiful, but I did want to tell you that I did try to do your advice and plant my tomato seedlings deeper, and then we had a crazy hailstorm. Now, the cheater tomatoes, I purchased cheater tomatoes, which is like tomatoes that are already started by other humans who know what they're doing. Those were in the grow pots. So my husband, who's a very smart fellow, thank you husband, who is not at all interested in his garden, by the way, because he does not eat anything that grows from the ground. Anyway, he does eat a tomato sauce, so technically he's going to be eating these things. But we had a very intense hailstorm forecast for Sunday night? Sunday night. Yes, I believe so. It's tornado warning. The siren is like right next to, it is like there's 4 houses between us and the tornado siren. And so the sirens were going off, and the hail prediction was like not soft, golf ball size hail was predicted. And I'm all like, I really didn't, I was just like, oh well. He's like, dude, why don't we go bring in those plants? And I'm like, oh, yes, let's go do that. So I'm out there like, and he's helping, but I'm out there, 5 gallons worth of dirt is actually quite heavy, especially when you're lifting it. What do we have, like 10 of them or something like that? Like 10 times, and like getting back and forth while the tornado siren is so loud. By the way, this is not like a spotted tornado. This was a thunderstorm that had rotation. So we were on the like looky, but I felt like it was okay. And it was not actually here yet. It was just over there. So like we had like 10-minute window. So I'm not, risking life and limb for the tomatoes. Just so you know. Just deafness, because that siren is so loud. So we're out there like, and literally at one point I was really like, because dude, it's heavy, and you're like really booking back and forth. But anyway, I could not cover the beds. So like all of my seedlings are like, some of them are gonna make it. The peppers look like they're gonna be okay. The cucumbers are looking real dicey. Oh, so many cucumber plants, right? I can still get cucumbers from the farm. It's down the road because they do pick your own cucumbers, but it's really like pickles. I want pickles so bad. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm really disappointed about the cucumbers. I did replant just in case, like because we have really limited space, right? So like I did like put seeds in alongside the seedlings just like as a backup plan in case they might pull through. I don't know. They did look really tattered and pitiful though. Yeah, but the tomatoes definitely, they were like broke. I mean, there was only like 3 that I even attempted to replant, and they did not make it. But hopefully the peppers and the cucumbers will make it. I tell you, the $64 tomato, it's real. It's real. Also, it was so crazy loud. Our house was built in like the 10s or 20s. We're not even really sure, but it has this like really like sketchy slapdash addition in the back for the laundry room, like laundry room, mudroom entryway thing, and the windows are literally like single panes of glass. Like they just went to the frame store, I think. Whatever. So I'm like after we got the plants all into the garage to protect them, I'm standing at the back door because that's the side that the storm comes in from, like with the weather app, and looking at the things and being like, do we need to go to the basement and do the whole thing? So I literally, the hail was so intensely loud, I was convinced it was going to break the windows in, and so I ran from the oh, it's ridiculous. I don't know what is up with Indiana and hail. Indiana loves some hail. I do not remember hail like this in Cincinnati, which is only like 2 hours away for those of you who are not familiar. It's super close, and yet Indiana's weird. But yeah, everybody was fine. The roof was fine. There no serious damage except for my sad cucumbers, which are pitiful looking. Anyway, that was a long time for me to talk about stuff that you may or may not be interested in. That's how this show works. Okay, so spinning. Spinning. I finished. That was me saying to myself, are you kidding me? Because the tag is right over there. I finished from Greenwood Fiber Company. I'm almost 100% positive that's what it was. I finished, this is her Spiceland colorway in a superwash BFL nylon. So it's 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon. I'm just gonna get real close to you. You're just gonna see some pores. Hi, how are you? Are you doing good? Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Yes, it is Greenwood Fiber Company, and this was Spice Market. Not Spiceland. So this I spun this, trying to remember if I split the braid in half. I don't think I did. I think it had relatively short color blips, so I think I just spun it straight from the braid and then chain plied it. And I have 300 and a few yards, so sport waist socks, right? Yeah. Oh, I hope none of you get motion sickness. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think I'm hoping to make like, again, I knew it would be like a heavier weight sock, but I think it'll be pretty. After I did the chain plying, I did go back and I tightened it up. I tightened the chain plying back up because it was fine in some places, but in other places it did look pretty loose. Got a little slapdashy with it. So I'm very pleased, yay, that I spent that was an extra 15 minutes to go back and you can run something through the spinning wheel or whatever you're using and just add twists to it. So even if you have like a yarn, when you talk so much that you get out of breath. So even if you want a yarn that's very loosely plied or is more loosely plied than you would like it to be, whether that's a commercial yarn or handspun yarn, you can always run it back through the wheel and just add more twist to it. And it's especially easy if you don't get it off the bobbin. Like mine was still on the bobbin. By the time you skein it up, wash it, and then look at it, that's the best way to tell if it has enough twist, because you'll lose twist when you wash it. It's magic. I don't know how it really works, to be honest with you, even though I've read about it. Something about like temperature fluidity, or it's magic. is what it is. Unless somebody knows Neil deGrasse Tyson and he would like to talk to us about it, I don't know how to make it tell you. But anyway, that's the best way to know, is like to have a finished yarn and be like, that's too loose. But I knew on the bob, and I was like, there's some puffy looking places on that air yarn. And since I really did want it to be for socks, I knew that it should be a firm twist. So to go from the bobbin, it's very low impact in terms of time and sanity. So I'm glad I did that. And I'm quite pleased. I wish I had gotten a little bit more yardage, but you know, that's kind of always how hand spinners feel, I think. I'm pretty pleased with it though. It doesn't feel too crunchy. Yeah, it feels good still. I think it's real pretty. Yay. You can't see. Why do I keep showing you? I don't know. I can help it. That's what you're supposed to do. Anyway, so there's that. And then currently on the bobbin, I have... Gotta remember the tag on that. I'm currently spinning from Moon Rover some superwash tar heat in the Crunching Leaves colorway. So I have 8 ounces of this. I'm currently spinning the first 4 ounces. I am about halfway through, maybe just a tiny bit more than halfway through. So I'm spinning the first braid as it is presented, and then the second one I will split into either 2 or 3, but probably not 4 pieces, and then I'll apply those 2 together. So it'll be like more chunky blocking. Oh my gosh, and look at that. Check out this segue. Because that's how I spun the yarn for this. My Passyunk square. So see, it gets a good stripe effect. But without being solid stripes, there's still barber pulling, because while I love striping, it's very fun, I also really love barber pulling. Yeah. Actually, technically, that's how you knit it, but this is how I wear it. So this is also Moon Rover. This is actually Superwash Merino. And this is her Luna Moth colorway. So this is the Passyunk Square, which is by Erica Flory. Classy like that. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot administrativeness. Because I wrote it on this side and not that side. But I want to say thank you for everybody who has put in their contributions to the show. Thank you. It was amazing, amazing. And if you don't know what that is, if you have an extra $1 and you would like to put it in the hat to support the show, I am supporting microfunding. Microfunding is my new favorite thing. Give podcasts you like $1. I know you feel kind of weird because those of you who gave $1, some of you gave $2, some of you gave $5. One of you gave $5 said, I wish I could give more. And I was like, dude, you gave 5 times too much. You gave 5 times too much. Because $1, that's awesome. If you can give a podcaster $1 every other month, if she podcasts or he podcasts every other week like me, that's $0.25 a show. I'm like, that's not too much pressure for me. I feel like my show is worth $0.25 a show. Like, I don't feel like I have to do something fancy. So it's like a great donation. And then if they podcast every week, what's like, and you give them $1 every month, that's like 12.5 cents a show. That's even less stress. So it's the perfect donation amount. Perfect. Yay, thank you. And I will donate. I'm donating. I will draw for a skein of Hobbledehoy Handspun at the first episode of June to give away as a thank you. Thank you! And I'm going to start doing that regularly. And also I'm going to start giving away finished objects, but they will not be tied to the donations because I don't want to step on designer feet, and I don't want to get into that, but it can be a sticky wicket. But hopefully I'll be able to donate some finished objects just as a like, yay everybody, instead of just a yay donation. But yay donation, thank you. So anyway, this is my Passyunk Square. And again, that is by Erica Flory. Ba-dam! And it is super fun. This was 8 ounces of Moon Rover that I spun just like I said on the last one. Except I think I split the first skein in half, maybe the first bump. I'm not sure, but I think I did because there has to be. Yes, I did. Because there were 2 of each color in one side. So I split the first one in half and then split the other one probably into fourths or something. And I totally dig it. That's right. I dig it. I'm just gonna hang out my graphic tees and a Passy-Young square all the time. Okay, now by the way, this is not exactly how the Passy-Young was written. Passy-Young was written for 1 skein of one color and like 30 grams contrasting color. So it's inspired by Passy-Young square. It's not a literal copy. But I'm totally in love with it. I think it's very exciting. And I love these colors. Oh. Okay, so that's finished objects. Now let's go into whips. Okay, I was trying to look at the time. Okay, first whip. Okay, I said that talk about needles because that's got a needle. Okay. So we're about to get ready to go camping for Memorial Day, which is the last weekend in May for all of you who are non-USers. So my dog Annie needs a new sweater. Her other sweater still fits, but it's getting a little snug. She's not around, so she's not overweight at all. She's just stocky. And it really does still fit. I just wanted to make her a new sweater. So clearly she should have a brioche sweater. So this is the top, like this is where her little doggy head goes through. And this is I used the Perfect Fit Dog Sweater by Jessica Lane. And that's Jessica with a K, by the way. And Erica with a K, isn't that weird? Anyway, Perfect Fit Dog Sweater by Jessica Lane. And this is hand spun, Three Waters Farm. That's all I'm telling you because I don't know the rest. And Beaver Slide Dry Goods Worsted. I don't know the colorway. But I think it's just called Natural Gray or something like that. So this is also 8 ounces. By the way, I just love to do 8 ounces of hand spun. It's thicker than sport weight. It's my favorite thing to do. So the pattern is not written for brioche at all. But it's very easy to do it in brioche because there's just one set of increases that you're, well, in the pattern there's, and this is a free pattern by the way, I'm almost positive. You increase on either side of a central spine, but brioche increase, the easiest one to do is a 2-stitch increase, like 1 stitch into 3 stitches. So it works out just as easily. And that way you kind of get like a fun little asymmetrical thing for your fancy Stephen West dog. So I just cast on with 1x1 rib and then a little bit and then started the brioche because I thought that way, since I have like leg openings, I did not want to try to do those in brioche. And then I thought that way they could just be easier. I did afterthought leg openings, which you can see right here. Boink, boink. And so this pattern is just one of those like and bud kind of patterns, like the modular patterns where you get your gauge and then you measure your pup and then you plug in the numbers. So I'm pretty excited about it because brioche is super squishy. Yay! So there's that. And I'm a bad project bag maker because that's not even a project bag. The next thing is in a bag. This is by Casey of Tangerine Designs. Yay! This, are you ready to be jealous? Prepare yourself. It's okay. Just get ready. Okay. So Joanna Spring gifted me hand spun. And I think I showed you the sock I started. Didn't I? I think I did. Okay, so this is also Three Waters Farm. Don't ask me what color. And, oh wait, Joanna's prepared. She gave me the tag. Joanna. Of course, Joanna is of Knit Spin Farm. This is Fall Sunshine, 100% Coriadale. So there's this gorgeousness, right? I had socks cast on. But as I was knitting the socks, it was so enjoyable to knit them, and they were so beautiful. But I won't lie, the beauty was tinged by me looking at them and seeing my, like, hobbit / goat / other gnarly creature feet just tearing through this beautiful handspun. Okay. So, like, it was very enjoyable to knit them, but then there was also that, like, I'm going to knit these and I can never wear them because as soon as they touch my shardy, horn-ridden stalactite feet, my feet are actually not that bad. They're going to just disintegrate like those bags with the tomatoes in them. They're just going to fall apart. And so I had to sit on it for a minute, and I decided I made a hat. Because it was just too gorgeous. And I wanted to remember how lovely it was and how lovely friendiversaries are forever and ever and ever. So I decided to make a hat. And look at my hat. Ah! Shut up, right? I'm not using a pattern, but if you wanted to make something similar, you're just looking for a hemmed hat. So, fingering weight. I did 25 rows for my hem. Sorry, my husband is looking at the dogs with this like total like face of, and I want to communicate to him that what she's doing is okay, but he has headphones on. Anyway, sorry. And I'm supposed to be talking to you. Sorry. So here it is so far. Right. So this is my favorite. It's gonna be the best campfire hat ever in the whole universe of hats. So don't just back up when you're jealous. Back it up. Back it up. So I'm striping it. I was doing 10 rows of stripe, and then I decided to do 5 rows of stripe because it's my hat and I can do that if I want to. I already told you to back up. So yay, my hat. Ooh, it's gonna be a great keeping hat. Oh, if I don't drop all the stitches in my intense excitement. Okay, so there's that. Excess, that's what I was trying to think of. You could use the excess pattern. It has some garter stitch in it, but you could just use that. Not do the garter stitch. Or do the garter stitch, whatever. But that's what I'm kind of modeling it after. Okay, I'll talk about both of these projects very briefly because then I want to talk about their needles. This is Lollipop Yarn in her Beefcake base. Beefcake! In the Cabin Fever colorway. So there's one sock. I am doing true afterthought heels in these. I've never done those before where you actually cut the thread. Because what was I doing that I just was so distracted? I don't remember. But I totally knit way beyond the length of the foot and then was like, oh, well, okay, there we go. So that much and this much. And then, of course, Lollipop Yarn is awesome. So there's black for heels and toes. I'm doing cuffs and heels with the black. So there's those. And I'm knitting those on US zeros. Normally I knit my socks in double zeros, but that is a sport weight. And so I'm doing that on zeros. And then the last one to show you is another sock. This is Honey Badger, right? Yes, this is the Honey Badger sock by Irish Girly Knits. Carrie Sullivan. It's a free pattern. And I am knitting this cuff down. This is Miss Babs. Miss Babs Hot Shot 3-ply fingering in the Charming Prospect colorway. I'm doing this 60 stitch circumference size. See, it's a fun little, just like a little slip and wrap with a yarn over. It's an easy little doody-do, but it's just a fun little, at the top of the cuff, you do it every 4th row. And then later, deeper into the cuff and on the foot, you just do it every 7th row. So it's just enough to kind of keep you going. Get a little something to do. Yay, those. These are on 00s. Okay, so then with all those needles out that I just gave you the projects on, let's talk about needles. Just a very casual review of the ChiaoGoo mini interchangeables. This is not sponsored by anybody except you, except viewers like you. I'm the PBS up in y'all. Anyway. And while I don't offer tote bags, I hope that you will feel just as self-righteous as I imagined all of the PBS supporters would have felt when I was a kid and I could not support PBS because I was a kid. So I hope you feel that self-righteous. So, this is an unbiased review of the ChiaoGoo mini needle set. Now, I'm a fan of the ChiaoGoo twist. I have the full set with about 8 gajillion extra cables and maybe a million extra small needle tips. I may have 2 sets of 2s, 3s, and 4s because, let's face it, I actually have more than that because I have some in projects, but I use those sizes a lot. And I really dig this needle set. Dig it. It is my go-to, yay those needles. But it only goes from my size US 2, which is what, 2.75 millimeters, up to a US 15, which is 10 millimeters. Now, I rarely use the US 9s through US 15s, like, very rarely. But it's nice to have them because every once in a while you need to make like a felted slipper or something, and it's very convenient to have those needles. But this isn't about this. It's about this. I just want to tell you that that is what I like the most in a needle. So when this came out, I was like, sign me up. Okay, let's talk about price. The price on the regular sets, they were offered in 2 sizes, like the small and the large, because there are small cables and large cables. There are small stoppers and large stoppers, but the small was, I think, $60-ish. Like each individual size was like in the $60 to $67 range, or you can buy the whole thing for like $105, I think. This one is $85. But I knit socks on 00s. And let me tell you, finding 00 is not fun. There are 00 Hayahayas. Hate. And there are 00 Addy sock rockets. There are like 00 Addy lace and stuff too, but I don't like the Addy lace, the smell of them. I know, right? So I use Addy lace 00s. There are also those strange needles from China that you buy in a package, and I've stopped using those because I just have, because I have the bent thing, and normally that's okay, but sometimes it's not, and whatever. Also, you have to buy a whole set of them. You can't just buy the 00s. To buy like the quadruple zeros to like the 15s. And even though it's like $1, it's still like, I don't need all those other needles. Anyway, aside. When this came out, I was super excited because it is sizes 000, which is 1.5 millimeters, up through size 1.5, which is 2.5 millimeters. And so even though the price is $85, which was a little bit like, I knew that it would be worth it for me. And also, I'm crazy. So you'll notice, of course, that it comes in a little zippy thing instead of a case like this. I think that theoretically that is because you could zip this into the larger case. Like you could just put it in there like a little insert and then zip this big boy up. So I'm sure that that's why that was decided. And they come in this little thing, I think, because they are so pointy that they would poke through just about anything you sewed them into. So this is like a little heavyweight canvas fold thing that's sewn up. And the other thing I like about the ChiaoGus quite a bit is that they have the size like laser engraved on each needle. I like that a lot. A lot. It does not wear off. It's not printed on. It is engraved on, but it's not like textural. It's like etched or I don't know. I love that. And even these little teensy guys, while this does not have the metric size, it has 3, I don't know that you'll be able to see this at all. You're not going to see that. It has 3 little blips, like 3 little opaque, like little circles on it, so that you know it's a 000. The 00 has 2. The 0 has 1. And then the 1.5 millimeter is big enough that it's actually printed like the larger sizes are. In fact, actually, I think the 0 might be printed with the size. Yes, it is. The 0 is printed with the size as well. So anyway, so even if they make their way out of this, and you can still tell what they are without having to have a gauge. That said, the set does come with a handy dandy little gauge, which does go down to the 000 size. The set also comes with, so it comes with 5 needle sets, 5 tips, and they're 5 inches. And it comes with 3 sets of cords. It comes with a 14, a 22, and a 30 inch. And then it comes with this little handy dandy case, which has in it your needle stoppers. So like if you want to take your needles off, you can just screw these in. And it comes with some little stitch markers. And then it comes with the world's tiniest T-pins. I have to show you because they're really cute. Just give me a second. It's a little small in there. I'm failing. Oh my gosh. Okay. So tiny. Look at this tiny T-pin. It's so tiny. It's this big. It's so tiny. If you've never used interchangeables before, well, A, this should not be your first set, and by all means, don't this is be your first set. But you use those to tighten the needles up. One thing it does come with, which I really appreciate, is a gripper. It comes with a needle gripper. So for my other set, I had purchased, I had like actual sewing needle grippers. So I have one in here, which like, I don't know, some Dritz or somebody makes. Here's one right here. They look like this, and they come in like a set of 3 or something like that. They're like $1.50 or $2. I don't know. But it's very nice that this set actually comes with the little doohickey. Yay them! And I think it comes with 1 connector, cable connector. Oh no, it comes with 2. It comes with 2 little cable connectors. So if you want to make if you're doing something really with a giant circumference, like you're a pie shawl and you're on those outside edges, you can combine your 30-inch needle with like the 30-inch cable with like the 14-inch cable and give yourself a 44-inch cable. So that is very nice. So that's all the stuff that it comes with. I like them. Now, here are my reservations about liking them. I'm using the 00s for this pair of socks, and I like them without reservations. I love the 00s. The cable is much smaller diameter than the regular cable. So here's the, like you're going to be able to tell. This is the size 0 cable, and this is the 00. So it has a similar texture, but this is a much smaller diameter, and therefore it's not quite as stiff as the regular ChiaoGu red lace, or even the twists, the interchangeables, because it's quite a bit meatier. Okay, so it is bendier. That said, I still really like it for the 00 because it is comparable in texture to, it's firmer than the Haya 00 cable. It is comparable in texture to the Addy Sock Rocket 00 cable. I would say it's in that same ballpark, but the needle is brushed, and I know that that's like such a tiny thing, but I really, and the tip is nicely pointed. I really love the brushed needle texture. Something very satisfying about the way the needles feel when they strike each other that I can't exactly explain, but it does it for me, and that's what I like. So I have enjoyed these quite a bit. I've only knit this pair, so I can't speak for long-term durability, but the joins have stayed nice. The joins, the joins, the twisty, when you twist them, has stayed nicely, but I definitely used the needle gripper, because I have a tendency to untwist our interchangeables, but that's just, I have to stop every week or something maybe. Like, it's not like it's annoying. It's not like every time I knit I have to tighten them. It's just every great once in a while I'm like, oh, that's a little loose, I have to tighten it. But I've never had a needle not do that was interchangeable. So some people just twist their needles more than others. Okay, so the 00 I recommend without reservation. I have not used the 000 yet. I'm sure it will be a very similar experience. The size 0. I started knitting this sock with the size 0. I didn't like the size 0 that much. Because the cable is finer, when I'm knitting socks, I do prefer a firmer cable. Just the way I knit, I tend to sometimes push stitches through, and a firmer cable, like the softer cable, will just like bend up. So I have to remember to pull my needles through and not push them. So with the size 0, I prefer the fixed needles. But I can definitely see myself using them on hats, the interchangeables. I can definitely see myself using them on hats and other projects that are not like a magic loop situation. And in fact, I am using the size 1.5, I think. May have needed to get those bifocals when I went to the optometrist. Yes, the size 1.5, 2.5 millimeters. I'm using these on my Joanna hat. And one thing that's really super fun about them, because that cable is so flexy, it's very easy to do traveling loop. So if you lots of times on hats I will do traveling loop versus magic loop. And traveling loop just means instead of having a loop instead of knitting halfway, switching to the other side like you do with magic loop, you just have one loop right here and you're knitting and you go all the way around. Does that make sense? You can look it up. But one thing that happens with a firmer cable, which I normally enjoy, when you're trying to do magic loop, is it is easier to stretch those stitches out at that join. So, or at the place where you have your loop. And this cable is flimsy enough that it doesn't have that issue. So I am enjoying them. Again, I'm on the hat project. I just think for socks, I prefer, if I am able to knit with a 0, I prefer the fixed because I like the cable. Those are lots of words. I hope that made sense. So, if I had it to do over, would I buy the whole set? I think I would. Even though I definitely will get the most use out of the 0s, it is nice to have the interchangeables because they're all together. I know it's just an organization thing, but they're all together. I know where they're at. They're all... And so it's nice to be able to locate things easily when I need to do a smaller gauge hat project. And again, the 0s, I will definitely be buying the 00s, more tips and more cords for sock knitting because I really did enjoy those. Oh, I forgot to mention the price. You can buy these components individually. So if you don't want to buy the whole set, if you just want to try them out, or again, if you feel like I'm only going to use one of those sizes regularly, the needle tips are $10, and that's pretty comparable with the other ChowGoos. They're $8 usually-ish. And the cables are the same price. They're $6.50 for the mini cables. But just beware, there's mini cables, small cables, and large cables, I think. And that does not include length, that's diameter of the cable. So, and you can even buy that little case. I think it was like, I think I saw that it was $3 or something. I don't remember. So you can buy the components individually. I don't think you can buy the bag individually. But yeah, so I highly recommend them. At least the double zeros. And I think I would just buy the whole set again because I enjoy it. And it all fits together, which is very nice. Yay, that. Okay. So then the last thing we have to talk about is shameless self-promotion. So if you're not interested, I'll totally see you next time. But if you are interested, oh my gosh. Crazy cat ladies. I'm gonna, and I say that with love, by the way, even though I don't love cats. I do love me some crazy cat ladies. There will be an update May 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern. There will also be an update May 8th, Mother's Day, at 9 a.m. Eastern-ish. I'm pretty sure. I don't think anybody's taking me to breakfast on that day. Because usually I prefer just to have things brought to me on Mother's Day. Like, no. So I'm pretty sure that will happen at 9 a.m. But if it doesn't, I'll show you in a minute. Okay. So this update, the part I'm going to show you right now, is Friday, May 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern. What? So there's sock bags with these super cute cats. And they're both of yarn. Graph papery style. And on the interior, you have butterflies. Right? Super cute. And then, in the large wedge style, you have some mama kittens. Or some like very modern papa kittens. Carrying around baby cats. It's super cute. This just has the traditional unbleached lining. And then also, in the small wedge, I love this print so much. It reminds me of, I don't know what it reminds me of because it's not a microscope, but it's like fantastical microscope or something. But there's this beautiful little botanical print. This is like a soft pink, shell pink. And this is the small wedge size. And then there's also a brown, which I really love, in the large wedge size. It's so pretty. And then, it's kind of a hodgepodgey update, but I don't know, they all spoke to me at the same time. And then I have a sweater bag with these lovely girls and trees because it's almost summer, y'all. So the sweater bag is interfaced with a batting versus the regular lighter weight interfacing. So it'll stand up by itself and be happy. So yay those. And there are also cats on that one. Okay, sorry for that odd edit. Okay, so then there will also be on Sunday, May 8th at 9 a.m.-ish Eastern. I'll have pre-orders up. This is a fabric that I will be offering later in May in the large wedge and sweater sizes. But I wanted to offer the Aran sweater. I never kind of know how many of those to do. So if you would like the largest size to offer, which is the Aran, here you can see this is the sweater. Here, let me try to line them up. Okay, if I line them up zipper-wise, get this much extra, and it's an inch deeper gusset, and it's 2 inches wider. Yep. So this is big enough to easily hold like a heavyweight sweater for a large woman or man. Whereas this bag I usually use for like sport weight sweaters for myself, or smaller, or short sleeve sweaters. Also works for that. But anyway, I love this fabric so much. Do you see that it looks like it's embroidered? Shut up. I also thought I would offer this bag, especially in this fabric, because some of my embroidery folks enjoy this size bag because it holds a big embroidery hoop. So anyway, so isn't it fun? It is not texture. I mean, it is a cotton linen slub. So it has a woven texture, but those stitches are that's just printed. It's not actually embroidered. So for very clarification-y styles, it is not embroidered. It looks, it's embroidered. It's faux embroidered. But it really does look like it's embroidered. It really looks like it's crewel work, which I love. Right? How fun is that? So pre-orders will go up May 8th in the morning, and I'll probably have them up for, I don't know, through midweek or so. Sorry. And they'll go out in about 2 weeks. And then I'll have that fabric will be available again in large wedge and sweater sizes later in May. Okay, I think that's all the words. Okay, I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk next time. Bye!